At times, part of our assessment can be observation, and when observing, it's nice to have a checklist to keep track of what you're seeing. A Google form can be an efficient way to do that. Consider having it on an iPad so you can walk around the room and be marking as you're observing. So to get started, you would create a new form, and that can simply be going up into a new tab and typing forms.new, again forms.new, and that will open up a new form like you see here. And you need to give the form a title. Now, depending upon how you're doing this and what age level you're doing. So for example, if I were in an elementary school classroom, that maybe I would be putting up the topic up here as far as, math or reading or science or that kind of thing. Or maybe if I were in a middle school or high school classroom, I would actually be putting the hour or section of students that I have here. Once I have a title typed in, I can simply click on the untitled form and it'll put that same thing up here to actually give my whole form a title. From here, we're going to make this pretty generic so that you can use it over and over again. So the first question that we're going to put in here is, what is the standard, or if you're going to do this with a learning target, you could also call it learning target, your preference on there. And then we would make this a short answer. So when you're completing this, you would actually type in the standard or learning target right into this. Now, if you wanted to get super prepared, you could actually do a drop down on here. And by doing a drop down, you could actually pre-type in all of your learning targets or standards, so you could just tap them from the list. In this particular case, I'm going to keep it at the short answer. And then I'm going to add a new question, and this is where the checklist comes into play. So I'm going to do, instead of multiple choice here, I'm going to do a multiple choice grid, which is this one down here. And then when I click on this, I'm going to put in some rows and columns. The title of this question isn't super important, so I'm just going to call it Mastery, but again, it's not crucial there. In my rows, what I want to do is put the names of my students in my class. And so I can start just entering those in, and when I press enter, it gives me another spot to enter another student's name. If I happen to type one out of order, I could just put my cursor on this set of dots in front of the item, and then I can just drag it and move it into the right order. So on the columns part, I'm going to be putting how I'm going to assess this. So this can be pretty formal, like how you would word your standards-based grading, or it could be something as simple as got it, almost, your choice on how this is put in. Now from there, that's about all we need. I personally would probably add in one last thing that would be for comments. That way, in case I wanted to make some notes for myself, that I could actually do that in here and not have to put it someplace else. So that would be my whole form, and if I preview it, you can see what it looks like. So if I had this on my device and I'm walking around, I can enter my standard, and then as I'm walking, I can be marking what I'm seeing with these particular students. Maybe the student was absent, so there's no evidence in there, and I could be marking these things as I'm going. If I had any special notes on here, I could put it here, and then I could simply enter submit. Because I made this form quite generic, I could bookmark it, or I could create a shortcut to it on my phone or my iPad, bring it up again. Then the next time I needed to observe, I could again put in the standard, and then I could go in and mark what I could do for my students as I was observing, and then put any comments below, and then hit submit. So the second part of this that makes this valuable for the teacher is not only that it's quick to keep track of this or to enter this into a form, but also the results that you'll see. So on a form, if you go to responses, you can see the responses here, but I can also go to a spreadsheet of these responses. So here on the spreadsheet of the responses, I get a timestamp, I get the standard, and then I can see by standard how people are doing, but I can also see by student how they are doing. Now, one thing you can do in a spreadsheet to make this more visual is to actually add something called conditional formatting. And to do that, the first thing that you'll do is you'll select the cells where you want the conditional formatting to appear. So I'm just going to select a bunch of cells here. And by the way, you can Google this because I'm just going to do it real briefly here. If you need more detailed, you can Google conditional formatting and get more information. Once I have the cells selected where the responses will show up, I can go up to Format and choose Conditional Formatting. That's going to open up a bar across the side, and it's going to allow me to put in some rules. So it says apply to range, and this range is what I selected. I can come down here, and if it's not empty, or how about if I say text contains exceeds, then maybe I want that to be a shade of green because it's exceeding. And then I can say done on there. I can add another rule on here. So maybe if I have no evidence, maybe I want to say text contains no evidence, and I really want that to stand out because I want to know where I'm missing evidence in here. I could maybe make that red. So I could apply multiple rules here, and then you can see this makes this very visual for me so that I can look not at specific words, but at colors. And so again, that's called conditional formatting. And now each time I enter information into here, it will automatically color code it based on the rules I've added. Hopefully you can see that creating a digital checklist could be a time saver for you and keep all of your data in one spot.